today for Vinyasa Yoga. My name is Erica and I'm with UMBC Recreation. If you're new to this class or new to yoga, it is beginner friendly. However, that does not always mean easy, just means I give more cues and think about alignment, a few more steps to get us into poses. We do start with a nice slow warm up. Bring some attention to our bodies. We move into the bulk of the practice where we're moving around quite a bit on the mat. We end with the finishing rest period, a final rest period on our backs where we remain still for about 2 to 3 minutes. We want to take that time to let the benefits of the class absorb into our bodies, give some attention to our thoughts, because yoga is not just about the physical body and movement, but also about our spirit and our mind as well. I always want to remind everyone to take breaks if you need to, skip poses that don't feel right in your body, practice for you and you only, and always talk with your doctor before you start any type of exercise plan. Today we're going to get started laying flat on our backs. So start in a seated position with your feet planted on the mat facing forward. Then hold on to the back of your thighs, roll down until you're flat on your back. Separate the feet to mat width distance apart, let the knees fall together. You can place your hands either on the body, maybe belly and chest, or out at your sides, nice and wide, palms face up. Try both out, perhaps, see what feels best for you. And start to deepen the breath a little bit. Keep your gaze focused on one spot in the ceiling. Or close your eyes. And bring your attention to your breath. Giving appreciation for this involuntary action that we take every day keeps us alive. If the eyes were closed, go ahead and open them now. And everyone straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw right knee in towards your chest for Apanasana, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee, pulling thigh close to body. Feet are flexed. And if you're feeling any discomfort on the knee, hold on to the back of the thigh instead. Now slowly draw the knee out towards right armpit, creating a bit more sensation in the hip as we continue to stretch low back. Take a few more breaths here. Then release, returning leg to mat. Left knee draws in towards the chest, holding below the knee, pulling thigh close to body. And try to sink low back to the mat. Dropping belly towards the mat. Now drawing knee out towards the armpit and taking a few more breaths here. Gently release, returning leg to mat. Draw both knees in towards the chest, feet side by side, holding below the knees or on the back of the thighs. Low back still pressing down to the floor. Then release your hold, returning feet to mat. Extend your right leg up to the ceiling, pressing out through the heel. Hold on to the back of the thigh for some support. And gently tuck your chin in towards your chest. Help lengthen the spine on the back side of the neck. Now press out through the toes, up to the ceiling, feeling it stretch maybe on the top of the foot, down the front of the shin. Now releasing into figure 4, crossing ankle over left knee. If you look down at your legs, it should look like an upside down 4. Let the right hip open up. Take a few breaths here, hands on belly. Maybe gently rock side to side. Just rocking the legs. Then returning both feet to the mat. Left leg extends up to ceiling, pressing out through heel, holding on to back of thigh. Feeling a stretch on the back side of the ankle, the calf. Now pressing out through the toes, pointing the foot. And crossing ankle into figure 4, allowing left hip to open, hands come to belly. Taking a few breaths here. And gently rocking the legs, the hips, side to side. Return both feet to the mat. And bring bottoms of feet together into reclined butterfly pose, allowing knees to lower down to the floor. If you need some ease and sensation here, we're going to slide the heels away from the body. I don't want any pinching in the low back. The more you slide the heels away, the less sensation you'll feel in the hips as well. Doesn't have to be some grand sensation in the hips. Just enough to bring your attention. Deepen the breath. Place your hands on the backs of the thighs and draw the knees together like you're closing a book. Draw both knees in towards your chest, holding on to the back of the thighs. Start to rock forwards and backwards. Gain some momentum until you can rock yourself up to a seated position and come right into tabletop on our hands and knees. Wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked underneath the hips. Slowly round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly into the spine. Holding here, not holding the breath. Slowly return to tabletop, back flat, before lifting and arching into cow, letting belly hang towards the mat, gazing up towards the ceiling, opening the throat. Holding here. Use your next exhale to return to cat pose, rounding spine, drawing belly in. Inhale to lift and arch into cow. Again, exhaling as we round the spine to cat. Inhaling as we lift and arch to cow. Then settling back to a neutral tabletop position. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling, reaching through the tips of the fingers, then threading the needle. So passing the raised hand through the right side between hand and knee. Lowering shoulder to floor, cheek to floor, and holding here. Find any relaxed position for the right arm for now. Gently twisting the belly and opening the shoulders and the chest. Now planting the right hand firmly on the floor once again to press yourself back to a tabletop position. Inhale as you lift right arm up to ceiling. Exhale as you thread the needle, passing it through the left side this time, lowering down to cheek. And finding a comfortable position in the left arm, whatever that means for you. Plant left hand to press yourself back to tabletop and lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, heel in line with hip, drawing belly into spine to flatten back. Draw the right knee in towards your chest, start to round the spine, lift the knee as high as you can, then step or place the foot into lunge. Ankle is directly below the knee, foot in between the hands. Draw breath in through the nose as you slowly lift both arms overhead. Nice slow movement, filling the chest with breath. Then exhaling out through the mouth, returning fingertips to floor. Again, breath in through nose, lifting the arms overhead. We're going to hold here as we exhale. Take a few more breaths here. Lowering shoulders away from the ears. Now bending the elbows into goddess pose, lowering elbows in line with the shoulders, palms face forward, fingers spread wide. Let the opening come from the chest. Send the tailbone long towards the floor and draw belly in. Open on the front side of the body. Extend both arms overhead, then lower fingertips to floor. Extend right leg behind you, pointing through the toes, then return to tabletop. Left leg extends now, heel in line with hip, draw belly in, gaze down towards the floor. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, lift the knee nice and high, then step or place the foot into lunge, ankle below knee. Draw the breath in through the nose, lifting both arms overhead, nice and slow, deep breath into chest. Exhale out through the mouth as we lower fingertips down to the mat. Again, breath in as arms lift overhead. Pause and exhale here. Bend the elbows into goddess arms, lowering them in line with the shoulders. Drawing belly in. Extending both arms back overhead. Exhaling to return the fingertips to the floor. Extend the left leg behind you, pointing through the toes, then return to tabletop. Bring the elbows down to the mat into puppy pose. Elbows stacked under shoulders, palms face down to the mat. Then let the head hang heavy. This pose here is option 1 for your rest position anytime throughout the class. Option 2 is to find child's pose, sending hips all the way down to the heels, resting forehead to mat. You can try them both out and pick whichever one feels comfortable for you. Either pose, we're getting a nice lengthening in the spine. And rest for the body. Take a few deep breaths here to finish our warm-up. And slowly return to a tabletop position, hands flat to the mat. Tuck your toes onto the mat, spread the fingers nice and wide. Press into the top of the palm, the base of the palm, and out through the pads of the fingers. Lift both knees off the mat, draw belly in towards the spine, then lift the hips up to the ceiling for down dog. Hips send up, belly comes back towards the thighs. If you're new to down dog or legs are tight, keep the knees bent for now. Keep drawing low belly in. Gazing down towards the toes. And try to hollow out the armpits, feeling the upper arms rotate outwards, keeping head in line with the arms for nice long spine. Look forward, start to shift your weight forward and step or place your right foot into lunge, ankle below knee, foot in between hands, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Step up to half lift, so feet meet at the top of the mat, hands to shins, back is flat, parallel with the floor. Lowering to forward fold, gently bending the knees so belly can drop to the thighs, letting arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. Hips keep reaching towards the ceiling as low belly draws in. Belly stays touching those thighs to protect low back. Bend the knees a little more if you need to make contact. Nice and slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position. Nice and slow, take your time, there is no rush. Once you make it to the top of the mat, give me one deep breath in through the nose, lifting arms out at our sides, up overhead. Exhale out through the mouth, lowering arms nice and wide, back down to our sides. Another deep breath in, lifting arms overhead. Then exhaling to forward fold, bending the knees, dropping belly back down to the thighs, arms and head hang towards the floor. Rise to half lift, hands to shins, flatten your back, shoulders press away from the ears. Step into a plank position, bend the knees so you can plant your hands and step the feet back into plank on the balls of the feet. Then lower to tabletop, knees meet the mat. Lean forward for chaturanga, shoulders past the wrist. Then lower the chest to the mat, keeping elbows close to the body. Then bringing hips to the mat, tops of feet to floor. Hands under shoulders and elbows up to ceiling as we lift chest to baby cobra. Then press into our rest position, either puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's, hips to heels. Take just a breath or two here. And meet me back in tabletop. Tuck toes onto the mat and distribute the weight out through the top of the palm and into the pads of the fingers. Lift knees off the mat, draw belly in and find down dog, hips up to ceiling, belly back to thighs. Knees can stay bent. Hollow out those armpits. And take a few deep breaths. If you're looking for a little more sensation in the legs, start to pedal the feet, pressing one heel down to the floor and then the other. Keep breath nice and steady and spine long, hips up to ceiling. Don't round that spine. Gaze in between the hands, step or place your left foot into lunge, lifting up to the tips of the fingers. Stepping up to half lift, feet meet, hands to shins. Lower to fold, belly meets the thighs. And slowly rise to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Deep breath in as you lift both arms overhead. Exhale as you lower back to fold, belly comes down to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten the back. Step into plank, plant the hands, step the feet back, and lower to tabletop. Lean forward into chaturanga, shoulders past the wrist, chest down to mat, elbows close to body. Hips come down next. Lifting the chest, shoulders reaching behind the heart, drawing low belly in, then pressing into rest position. Puppy pose or child's. Take a few rounds of breath here. We've got one more cycle to go through. Slowly rise to tabletop and prepare for down dog. Send hips up to ceiling. Press belly back towards thighs. You can keep pedaling the feet if you like. Deepen the breath. Look forward and step your right foot or place it into lunge. Step up to half lift and flatten the back. Lower to forward fold, belly comes down to thighs. Then slowly round the spine up to standing. Last time through, deep breath in to lift arms overhead. Slow exhale out to find the fold, belly meets thighs. Inhale to half lift, flatten back. Exhale as you find your plank and tabletop position. Take a deep breath in tabletop. Exhale to chaturanga, lean forward and lower all the way down, elbows close to body. Inhale, baby cobra, chest lifts. And exhale to your rest position. Take one full round of breath in whatever rest position you're in. Then slowly meet me back in tabletop. Use your next exhale to lift into down dog, hips up to ceiling. Even if you choose to take 3 breaths before you lift those hips up, just lift them on an exhale. Take a few deep breaths in your down dog. Breathing in through nose and out through mouth. Look forward, stepping or placing left foot into lunge. Stepping up to half lift, flattening back. Lowering to fold, belly meets the thighs. And slowly rising back to standing. Bring your right arm up to the ceiling. Stretch nice and long through right side of body. Grounding down through right foot. Core is active. Find a slight side bend over to the left. Then roll down to forward fold. Belly meets the thighs and head hangs. Rise, half lift. Step your right foot back into lunge, bringing fingertips to mat. Left knee is stacked over ankle or on the ball of the right foot. Bring hands to thighs and extend arms overhead into Anjaneyasana, holding here. Pressing firmly out through the right foot. Glute is active, thigh is active. If that right leg feels pretty tight, you can keep a soft bend in the knee. Few deep breaths into the chest. Open a 5-pointed star facing the right side of the mat. Feet are flat and facing forward. Arms are at shoulder height. Turn the toes away from one another now and bend the knees into goddess pose, stacking knees over ankles, sending hips down towards the floor, bending elbows into goddess arms, lifting through the chest. Feet are planted firmly on the mat, pressing into the inner and outer ball, inner and outer heel. Breathing into the chest. Inhale to lengthen arms overhead. Exhale to bend the elbows. Inhale, lengthen arms overhead and straighten the legs. Exhale, bending elbows. Bring hands to hips. And turn toes to face in towards one another. Hinging forward at the hips, bringing chest parallel to floor, pausing here, engaging your core, softening the knees. Then bringing fingertips down to the floor. Bending the knees a little more if you need to make that happen. Gaze is down towards the floor, taking a few breaths here, lengthening our spines, lengthening our hamstrings. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, walk your fingertips forward, almost in a modified down dog with a nice wide stance. We're still on the tips of the fingers. Ears are in line with the arms. We're hollowing out the armpits. Outer rotation of upper arms. Sending weight into the balls of the feet. If you walk the arms forward or fingertips forward, start to walk them closer in towards the body. Turn your left foot to face the front of the mat and walk your hands back into lunge. Left foot is forward, we're on the ball of the right foot. Step back into plank before lowering to tabletop knees to mat. Find chaturanga, lean forward, bending elbows close to body, all the way flat. Next inhale, lifts the chest, baby cobra, and exhale to your rest position. Yogi's choice. Maybe you've taken puppy the last few times and you'd like to try child's, or vice versa. You don't have to be married to one or the other. Now everyone, meet me in a tabletop position. Then find down dog, hips up to ceiling. Deepen the breath, at least one breath in through the nose and out through mouth. Find movement in the body if that's what feels right to you. Look forward and step or place right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift, flatten your back, draw shoulders away from ears. Lower to fold, drop belly to thighs, let the head hang. And slowly rise up to standing. Take your time, let your chin come up from the chest, very last. Feel all the muscles working to let you stand up. Deep breath in, arms back overhead. Exhale to fold, belly meets the thighs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale as you step your left foot back into lunge, onto the ball of left foot. Right knee stacked over the ankle. Hands come to thigh, then arms extend overhead. Activate that left leg, thigh and glute. Take a few deep breaths into your chest. Open a 5-pointed star facing the left side of your mat. Feet are forward and arms are at shoulder height. Turn the toes away from one another. Bend the knees into goddess pose, stacking them over the ankles, and bend the elbows. Lift through the chest. A few deep breaths here. See if hips can sink a little lower towards the floor, keeping knees over ankles. Inhale as we straighten the arms. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale, straighten the arms. Straighten the legs. Exhale, elbows bend. And hands to hips. Turn the toes in towards one another. Hinge forward from the hips, bringing chest parallel to floor. Pausing here, engage the core, soften the knees, and release fingertips down to floor. Take a few breaths here. Either staying here or walking fingertips a bit forward. Lengthening the spine. If you walk the fingertips forward, bring them closer to the body. We'll all turn our right foot to face the front of the mat as we walk our hands back into lunge. Step back into plank, lower knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, lower all the way down. Use your inhale to lift the chest and your exhale to find your rest position. Let's all meet back in tabletop. And exhale into downward facing dog. Remember, it doesn't have to be that immediate exhale. You can skip a few breaths, keep your knees to the mat, and then lift to down dog when you're ready, or skip down dog if you like. Take a few deep breaths wherever you're at. And step left foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Exhale as you forward fold. Inhale as you slowly rise up to standing. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling, reaching through the tips of your fingers, pressing left foot down into mat. Activating core. Give me a side bend over to the right, holding here. Rolling down to forward folds, belly meets the thighs. Taking a breath or two here, let the head hang heavy. Then slowly round the spine to a standing position. We're going to move into a little bit of balance now. If you're unsure about your balance capabilities, or you know that your balance isn't the best, you're more than welcome to move to a wall. And you're going to start with your standing leg. So we're going to start with our right leg against the wall. And you can sort of use the wall to help prop you up, sort of like a buddy to catch you, just to help with your balance. Otherwise, you're going to stay on your mat, whatever is best suitable for you. We're going to place all the weight into the right leg and put a tiny micro bend in that knee, really engaging the thigh muscles here. Starting with your hands at your hips, finding length through the spine, pressing down on your hips to help root you down to the mat. Slowly start to bend left knee, lifting it in line with the hip, then sliding your hands down towards your knee and interlacing the fingers, holding here. Find a lift in your chest. You can stay here, or if you like to add a challenge, adding a twist, you're going to slide your left palm to your sacrum, that bony part right above your butt, fingertips facing down towards the floor and elbow pointing to the back of the mat. Last option for a challenge is to gaze towards the back of the mat over your left shoulder. If you fall out of the pose at any time, that's okay. Just slowly join your way back in. If you're looking to the back of the mat, start to look forward. If your hand is on your sacrum, we'll all bring hands back to knee. Then slowly step the lifted leg, step that foot down to the floor. We're going to switch sides. If you're standing on the wall, you're going to have to turn sides so now that your left leg and left hip is close to the wall. All the weight is in the left foot, tiny micro bend in a standing leg. Start with hands on hips. Ground yourself, gently press down. Find length through the sides of the body. Slowly start to bend right knee in line with the hip, sliding hands down to knee and interlacing fingers, holding here, option 1. Keep your gaze focused on one point. Try not to look around, several things. If you're taking the challenge, right palm slides to the sacrum, bony part above the butt, elbow to back of mat. Last option is to try to turn the gaze, looking out over right shoulder, keeping the chest open. And everyone breathe. If you're gazing the back of mat, slowly turn your head to look forward. If hand is on sacrum, bring hand back to knee. And everyone step your raised foot down to the mat. Stand nice and tall at the mat, grounding both feet down to the floor. Deep inhale to lift both arms out at your sides and up overhead. Exhale out the mouth, lowering hands down by your sides. Again, deep breath in, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Last time, deepen the breath. Arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Belly comes down to thighs. Taking a ragdoll variation this time, grabbing onto opposite elbows. Keeping belly close to thighs. Shake the head, yes and no. And then gently start to rock side to side. Maybe eyes closed for a few seconds. Slowly rise to half lift. And step back into plank. We're going to hold this plank here for 10 seconds. Hips in line with heels, in line with shoulders. If you're tired, you can lower down to your belly now. We're all getting there anyway. We're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down to belly. Bring big toes to touch. Let heels fall away from one another. Turn your head so you can rest on your cheek. Doesn't matter which side. And lower arms down the sides of your body, palms face up to ceiling, and wiggle shoulders away from the ears. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, melt onto your mat. Just let go. Slowly turning your head to the opposite side, getting a nice even stretch for your neck. Now bring your chin to the mat. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, and one last time, press yourself into your chosen rest period, puppy pose or child's. And take a few rounds of breath here. Slowly make your way to a seated position, sitting in the center of your mat, legs out in front of you. Lift both arms overhead, flex the feet. Drop chin to chest. Then around the spine into rounded back stretch, lowering hands to the knees, pointing elbows out to either side of the mat. It's getting there when you get there. Moving nice and slow, taking nice deep breaths. Relaxing shoulders away from the ears. Telling our bodies with our breath that it's okay to relieve the tension it's been holding on to. Slowly lifting the spine upright, placing hands on either side of your hips into staff pose, finding length out through the spine, up to the ceiling. Then relaxing the spine into a neutral position. Bending the knees, planting feet to mat, holding on to the back side of the thighs, and slowly lowering yourself down until you're flat on your back. Draw both knees in towards your chest, feet by side. Holding on below the knees or on back of the thighs. And take a few breaths here. Helping to relieve any tension in the low back. If you prefer to find a little movement, you can gently rock side to side. Now place your hands on the back side of your thighs if they're not already there, and extend both legs up towards the ceiling. We'll take a shortened version here for about 30 seconds. You can gently bend the knees for a little ease here. We'll just allow some fresh, oxygenated blood to come towards our head. Sort of reversing our natural flow of our circulation, improving our circulation. Now drawing both knees back to the chest, lowering heels down towards the hips. Placing arms out at your sides, palms face up at shoulder height, and letting the knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist. Head turns to the left. If you need any ease in this pose for any reason, just lower the knees away from the hand. Allow left shoulder to press down towards the floor. Now drawing knees back to the center of the chest, slowly letting them fall over to the left into reclined spinal twist, gently turning head to the right. Slowly draw both knees back to the center of the chest and hold on to the legs one last time, pulling thighs close to body. Start to breathe in through your nose as you lift your head to meet your knees. Hold your breath at the top. As you slowly exhale out through the mouth, I want you to let go of the body and lay flat on your mat, spreading your legs and your arms nice and wide, taking up as much space as you can, letting toes fall away from one another, palms face up, and eyes closed. On your next exhale, imagine your body melting onto the mat. And then bring your attention back to your breath. Allowing your breath to ease your body into relaxation. Allowing the breath to tell the body that it's okay to let go of the tension and the stress. Find some ease in your brow. And focus on the rise and fall of your chest. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back into the body. And slowly roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. Maybe using your arm to support your head. Now, keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths, breathing together as one. That's breathing in through your nose and exhaling out through your mouth. Today we'll take a 4-count breath, breathing in for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 4. If after the first round of breath that count comes easily to you, I'll ask that you extend your count of breath to a count of 5 instead. Let's all start on an exhale, release all the breath we have out of the body, and start to breathe in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breath in for 2, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Last time, breath in, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, and 4. Take a second and thank yourself. Thank yourself for making this choice, taking time out of your day for this practice. And I'd like to thank you for letting me lead you on this practice today. There is a light that exists within me that honors the light that exists within each and every single one of you. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this class. A new version of this class is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. I also have a core yoga class that is structured much the same as this. However, we have lots of core targeting work incorporated into the flow that airs every Wednesday at 8 a.m. There are a bunch of other classes that we offer. Try them out. Let us know what you think. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.